And when that cabeceo comes, it feels so nice because it's like I was chosen in that moment.
Our desire to learn is not equal.
Ooh.
I know couples that started together that were married,
Oh.
that are still happily married, thankfully. All right. Well, welcome back.
I guess we're doing part 2 a little sooner than we.
You know what? We ran out of time, so we're continuing the conversation.
Yes.
Although you all had to wait a week for part 2. Sorry about that. But let's jump right back into it. So we had already spoken about kind of dating in Tango, like before the relationship starts, a little bit about jealousy in Tango, but we really didn't touch on how Tango itself impacts the relationship.
Or rather how your tango experience.
Yeah, your tango journey and experience.
Right.
Yes. But more on how dating impacts tango.
I see.
Yeah.
So you're talking like your experience, like your learning journey, right? Like especially if you're with the same person and you take classes together.
Oh, if you started together. I know couples that started together that were married, that are still happily married, thankfully.
So I feel like for me personally, we have students like this. I feel like I don't recommend people start tango together. There are so many times when I've been approached where it's like a couple, they want to do tango, I might give them a lesson. I can tell like the learning curve is high enough. Yeah, there's like some friction and frustration because of trying to learn together.
There's a friction communication, and then there's like the pace of learning when one exceeds the other.
Yeah, but also there's the fact that the learning curve is different if you lead or if you follow. And I think like, yes, it's difficult in the beginning for both, but I think it stays difficult for longer for the leader. And then it's not until later for the follow that you understand more what you need to work on. So like, it's very different, and it can, depending on your relationship, like what your expectations are. Like, I think there's room for a lot of conflict. And I often joke that it's either going to strengthen your marriage or it's going to end in divorce.
In a way, it's like tango amplifies your communication skills as a couple, because you can't avoid it. You have to give feedback. And even if you don't want to give feedback, you will reach a breaking point where you're like, I don't like this thing anymore. I need you to do something a little bit differently, please.
Well, also for couples that have already been dancing when they met, right? So sometimes John had been dancing for a lot longer than I had, right? Or maybe they've been dancing the same amount of time. I know a couple that doesn't like dancing together. They love their tango individually. And it sometimes is a point of contention, right? So it's interesting. I know for us, when there's conflict that tango is impacting, it's usually because there is our desire to learn is not equal.
Ooh.
That's usually what happens.
Yeah.
Which is like sometimes in life, like there are stages of life, and we'll talk more about this in a later episode. Like sometimes it is not the time to be aggressively learning tango. Right.
One person might devote more time.
Or you don't feel it. Like you can ebb and flow, right? Would you agree? So I want to add that there can be conflict when we have different levels of desire to learn, but also when there are just even different levels of desire to go out and dance.
Yes, I agree, and I think, but I think that's kind of part of being secure in your relationship, right? I think like outside of tango, it's couples can have their own individual, hobbies and things that they want to do, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that, right? And it's really more about you being secure in your own relationship to be okay with that, or something that you need to work on together. But ultimately, yes, I think with the thing about tango specifically is that, for me at least, I was so drawn into it that it becomes a big part of your identity. And so I feel like anything that revolves around tango, there's always that risk of you taking it personally. So any slight feels much bigger of a deal than it actually is, right? So, but so again, like keeping that in perspective and having your priorities, whether it's like Tango versus your relationship, I think that's something that's important to keep in mind.
We went through this phase where, I mean, John is almost always my favorite person to dance with. And I say
Does
almost.
That put pressure?
Well, that's what happened. Is like we had an off period where like something changed, something was off, whatever, and it was just not feeling good. Like, do you remember this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we had to talk about it, and I was like, well, crap, because you're my favorite person to dance with. And then if that sucks, then like that's gonna really suck. And I realized that's a lot of pressure on him, right? And this was when I was having back problems and like I wasn't dancing with other people, but also like it's also the way that we like if we have a date night, we want to go dance. Like most often we want to go dance, right? Because it's something we both love to do. So yes, a lot of pressure. I don't think it's the same now. Like I'll just go dance with other people.
Yeah, I was really curious about this because I've had something similar, but not with someone that I'm in a relationship with, but just a dancer that it's like my favorite dancer, let's say. And I want to dance with them a lot, right? But because I know I don't have the market on them, I have to just wait and hope for the opportunity to come when we do get to dance. And maybe it's one tanda or two tandas in the whole night. I wish we could dance for 10 tandas, right? So it's interesting because then I've been curious how that changes, because when you are in a relationship with each other, there's a little bit more of this not obligation, but like that's your person. And so if you ask for it, you'll receive it typically, right? So how does that like balance out? Do you guys ever face situations where one of you is like, I really want to dance at this moment, but the other one is like, I'd rather either dance with someone else or not dance and do something else? And now it's different because if we weren't in a relationship, if we're just friends, it'd be like, cool, totally. You're totally, you have your rights to do that. But if you're married, like dating, but also if you're married, like how do you balance that communication?
Well, so
we do it differently, I think.
Yeah, we do it differently. Like we try to make sure that we give each other the option for the first tanda, right?
One tanda.
No. Well, like for the first tanda, and then if a milonga comes on, I do have an expectation around milonga that like John is going to at least check if I want to dance that milonga, and if I don't want to dance it, then absolutely every other tanda, except for maybe if poema were to come on, like then whatever, if there's something that like I hear and I'm like, ooh, I really want to dance it. And I want to dance it with John specifically. And I look over, but he's already dancing with somebody else. I'm not going to be upset. I'll just be like, well, that's kind of, it's on the same level of like, oh, I wanted to dance with this other person who's not my husband, right? It's the same level of disappointment. It's not huge. And then of course, Comparsita. So like we will kind of look at each other to see last tanda, and even if we don't dance last tanda, maybe we're like, no, go dance with somebody else. We'll reconnect for Comparsita specifically. And for people that aren't as familiar with tango and customs, like usually Comparsita is special. It's the song that's played to close the night. So like often couples will dance it together, or some people will just not dance it at all if their partner is not there.
And what about you, John? How do you navigate?
Yeah, so I actually think Melody said it. Like, I think I try to. Well, first of all, I don't want to dance with anyone who doesn't want to dance with me for whatever reason, right? Like, if someone feels saying like if their feet are tired or like something hurts, like I don't.
Well, we can't really trust your assessment of that, John, because we already know that your caboseo game still has some work to do.
There's no, for sure. I certainly am not saying my game is perfect, but if someone for whatever reason is not into dancing that time, that's totally fine. I'm certainly, despite how I might feel like it is, as we say, it takes two to tango. If one person is not up for it, then that's totally fine. And so, like Melody said, I try to treat her not necessarily like there's the preferential tandas here and there, but largely I'm not trying to treat her any differently than any other follow in the space. I mean, like it is a mixer, right? Like we're going around, we're seeing our friends, we're dancing with other people if they're like out of towners, right? You're curious about, right? Like there's all sorts of different things that could happen.
What about cabaseos? Because for instance, again, my closest analogy is my favorite dancer in the room. There's something very special about knowing that they're looking for me for a particular song. Just that, like, that it's not just like, yes, I know we can dance anything, but I really want to dance this song. I want to dance this song with you. And when that cabaseo comes, it feels so nice because it's like I was chosen in that moment. Or if I do the same to them, I don't know, maybe it feels nice. Do you guys feel like, how's your cabaseo game with each other? Because there's not just looking at each other, be like the silence couple communication, but do you still get that magical spark when you search for each other for a dance that maybe it wasn't like, okay, yeah, all right, we typically do this, let's go do it?
Do you call what we do cabaseo?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
We don't cabaseo each other.
We don't.
Very, very rarely. I think there was a recent milonga where something came on, and I was like, "Ooh!" And I looked at him, and he was like, "Mm." And that's probably the closest we've gotten in like 5 years. Definitely. I mean, cabaseo is like, if I didn't want to dance something with John, if he was like, "Ooh, you want to dance it?" Because he would just ask. And if I didn't want to dance, I don't think he would be upset.
Right.
He would just go dance it with somebody else.
I gotta be honest with you. There's a big part of me where I enjoy the clarity of vocal communication more than the cabaseo.
Yeah. Well, also, if I'm saying no to him, it's because I don't want to dance. Like, I just don't want to dance.
Are there any songs that you guys don't particularly care to dance with each other?
Well, he doesn't really like dancing pugliese or like really dramatic music. I love pugliese.
I have to be in a pretty specific headspace to want to dance pugliese.
Meaning get out of your head.
Yeah.
No. I have very high standards for dancing pugliese, and I feel like if I'm not hitting the things I want to hit, I actively dislike dancing.
We gotta reprogram you, John. We'll
maybe.
work on this. Messing with you.
It's not like the Matrix.
Is there? I guess I just don't really like dancing to modern music mostly at all. Like there's very few exceptions. Maybe La Juan D'Arienzo, there's like a small set. And there's a couple of solo tango songs, but I would much prefer dancing to live music than their recordings. I think generally just this stuff it doesn't have the same quality as music that was recorded on like one microphone, placing the musicians at different distances from the microphone. Like there's something magical about those old recordings, and modern sound engineering doesn't match. So if something modern comes on, most of the time I'm going to be like, meh. I don't want to. So that's really the only thing. And vols, usually I'll sit out vols only because I don't have enough energy.
Because you guys sit for the milonga.
Because I want to dance milonga, yeah.
And by the way, I'm not attacking either of you. I'm using the both of you as like an example couple to get through like our questions. Yeah. So I hope this is okay.
No. I think it's good. I think like having talked to friends, because we have friends that are very different. We have friends that don't enjoy dancing with each other for whatever reason. Definitely, we do have some friends where one partner may feel like the other person is doing it wrong, right? And we've worked on some things that we felt that the other person was doing wrong. Or like he made a comment one time shortly after COVID ended and we were socially dancing. He was like, "Oh, I was surprised you dropped your hip." I still remember this. And I was like, but I had noticed it too, right? I was like, my balance, And we have friends that just don't enjoy dancing with each other at all. Friends that enjoy occasionally dancing with each other. So I think like...
And that's okay.
And yeah, that's okay because their relationship isn't based on tango.
It may have started in tango, but it needs to survive outside of tango for it to really survive.
Exactly. It's based on their actual relationship with each other. And tango is just something they like to do. And even one of the couples that I know, they don't particularly enjoy dancing with each other. I was watching them dance at a milonga a couple months ago, and there was a moment and they laughed. And it was like, oh, see, this is what tango is about. It's like we're doing something fun. We're doing something fun. It doesn't always have to be like this serious, focused thing. It can just be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I'm also curious then, because we talk about, for instance, in the classes, we understand couples want to stay together, but we also know that their experience will be stunted if they don't get enough diversity, which then they can bring back to their couple and be like, oh, I felt this. Did you feel that? Da, da, da. So how do you guys manage to, especially, it seems like you're in the bucket of couples that really enjoy dancing with each other and dance with each other a lot. How do you manage still diversifying your experience enough so that you don't become too coded to each other?
Oh, that's a good question. And that is one of the things. It was Reno and Graciela. They were like, when a couple dances together, they start to dance like each other, and the things that work with each other might not work with everybody else. So they intentionally go out and try it with other people, right? We try to make sure we're dancing with other people. That's a really big piece. And we take private lessons together. We still take classes when we can.
Yeah.
Time is a bit limited for us. What do you think?
How do you? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I think like you said, I think the big thing is dancing with other people and making sure we have that broad range of experience outside of each other, just so that we're not. But ultimately, like, I think we want to practice more, and I think when we ultimately do find some time to practice more, that's going to be something that we will need to
work out.
And so the thing is, like, it's like when I go to a practice, when I'm at Pablo's, I do intentionally try the different things we're working on with different people, because I recognize that what we're working on is not necessarily everyday Malanga movements, at least around here, right? So I can't expect follows to do them exactly correctly, or there's always a certain amount of anticipation, or it's not a movement they're used to, blah blah blah. So just to get a variety of experiences.
And how do you communicate to each other? Because I'm sure you each have your own relationship communication dynamics in life. Does that change, or does that need to be modified when you're in the tango environment and you want to communicate something, whether it's something that you want the other person to do differently, or just...
So that's hard for us, actually. One thing, I actually send him out to dance with other people. I'm like, go dance with other people. Because if there's like some bad habit that is like, that I know is a bad habit, like objectively I know it's a bad habit, that I'm feeling, that not that I'm doing, and I have my own bad habits, but I know if he goes out and dances like 5 tandas with other people, he comes back feeling very different. They don't say anything, but I will accommodate for certain things he does because I know he's doing it, where they will not accommodate because they don't dance with him as much. So he actually comes back feeling very different, and usually, almost always, it's like, yeah, okay, all right.
He
worked that out. But when we're practicing together, it's actually very frustrating. We don't think in the same way. We talked about it. We don't think in the same way. It is the one time I think that our communication sometimes...
Why is it different? Because I'm sure you conflict resolution, you resolve conflicts all the time in your day-to-day life with kids.
We really don't have a lot of conflict in our day-to-day life.
Oh, well, no, between us two.
Yeah, between us. Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So then tango really forces you to figure out that dynamic. Wow. First of all, what a strange couple, but I'm glad for you guys. So John, how do you handle conflict resolution then, or you don't?
Like with Melody or in tango?
No, we're talking couples.
That's fair. So well I'm saying, like, if it's like some rando in tango, I'd probably just avoid. That's probably like my go-to is to avoid the whatever situation.
Yeah, right.
Because it's not like if it was just someone you're just practicing with, you're gonna say goodbye to them. You're not gonna go back home with them.
Yeah.
And then spend the next morning with them.
Right. So much more. Obviously, like, yes, like I'm going to work on it and trying to figure it out. I mean, it's a process, right? Like I think this is not so much like Tango relationships as it's like general relationship advice, right? Like any relationship, there's work involved. You have to work at your relationship for it to work, right? That like getting into a relationship is the easy part. Now you need to like start working, right? And so it's kind of like practice. I mean, it's difficult, 100%. Like it's not something I'm used to. I feel like over the course of we've been together 10 years, I've been getting better at talking and vocalizing how I'm feeling, which is something that like I have trouble with, right? I have like oftentimes I'll feel this sensation, this ball of emotion, but I have a hard time turning it into words and expressing how I feel. Usually it takes me like a little bit, like a day or two to like process, and then I can like talk about it. But like just, practice. It's like doing it over and over again, and then trusting that your partner will listen to you and take you seriously and try to work with you and try to like, address the way that you are feeling, because like the way you are feeling is totally valid, right? And they're your partner, so part of why you are in a relationship together is that they will try to, help you work through your own problems, and you're not just creating problems for your partner, right? Isn't that the part of it?
The hope.
Yeah.
I think we try to have understanding for each other. And if I feel like, so my frustration tolerance is definitely lower than John's often. So if I think I mostly do a good job of recognizing when it's not productive. And I will just be like, oh, okay, for now, like, I think that's probably enough. Like, I would rather not keep going if I feel like I'm just too frustrated. And I think like pulling in an outside party that would have a better understanding, like a maestro, is when we can, it's what we prefer to do.
Have them figure out the issues.
Yeah, or just like they can kind of identify what's happening within it, because nobody's infallible. We all have our own mistakes. None of us are going to do it perfectly, and it's easier to blame somebody else. And then trying to release expectations. Like, I cannot expect every dance with John is going to be mind-blowing, right? So just being present in the moment and releasing, and that's like general life advice, is like the key to happiness is that you have released expectations, or you're not setting expectations, because you can have one situation happen, and if you had expectations that it was going to go another way, it's going to cause unhappiness. But if you didn't have those expectations, you might even have some level of happiness because you just hadn't attached something. And it's the same situation.
Or be willing to let go of them after.
Or be willing to let go. Yeah. So I try to release expectations generally, if I can.
Okay, I'll stop the grilling with the coupleship for now, because I think there's another topic around like the impact of relationships on the Tango community. Especially if it's like a big breakup
or
that polarizes the community because of infidelity or abuse or something that like now other people have feelings about and opinions about the coupleship, which we've seen a lot of this kind of play out both locally and on the international stage as well.
Yeah. So
It's so wild, right? Because ultimately it's like this personal thing happening between two people, right? But then with social media and everything, it's all out there, and people feel like they have to pick sides, so to speak, or like, especially if it's like organizers, right? If the couple happens to be organizers, then it's like how.
Well, but I think it depends what you're talking about. Like if you're talking about infidelity, and you're just an outside party, you don't really have a relationship with the people, whatever, right? But I think if we found out that a close friend was cheating on another close friend, like that would hurt for the friend. Like we would have some feelings because of our empathy and compassion for the person that's hurting. And it's not even that the infidelity, it's that they harmed someone we care about, right? So like there was a case where it was a pretty bad like pretty serious infidelity. The marriage ended, there were children involved or a child, like, and it was kind of like, for us, these were not close friends. We're all like outside of this, but I know a lot of people that are close friends with them. And it was just so shocking. That can definitely polarize a community. I think we all have to understand that we can only control ourselves and our own reactions. And like, I personally don't want to be friends with people that are cheating on their partners. I think that says a lot about your own moral character. I'm not going to shun them from the community, but I am going to be like, that person I probably is not, because of my own history, right? We talked about it. Like, I lived through that fallout of infidelity as a child. And I think it says a lot about a person if they would do that to their partner. So that's one piece, right? And it's like, how close are you to the people involved? The other piece is like abuse, because abuse happens, and DC's been affected by this. And then again, it is up to each individual person. I know we at Vienna Tango School, if we know of physical violence that has happened and there is a perpetrator of physical violence, and we know that this happened, they're not welcome in our space because we want to create a community that is upholding like a safe space and some shared value, right? Whether people have personal relationships with people, that's ultimately not my place, and I don't really want to judge people. But in our space where we have the control, that's what we've agreed. Like, we want a safe space. We don't want people who are physically violent with other people, regardless of gender. Right. All right. So in these situations, let's say of infidelity and abuse, I think what is really, really difficult is that we live in this time where we want to have, it's like cancel culture, right? Part of being in community, I think, means that sometimes we're going to be really offended and we have to still stick it out and show up and be part of the community. And we're losing sight of that because we're not, like, as a whole society, we're not so community focused anymore. And we're not understanding that people make mistakes and have flaws. That said, there's a reason that, like, we would not want to keep someone who is a violent offender within the community, right? Especially somebody that is an intimate violent offender that's committed sexual assault, for example, because we're looking out for the safety of our entire community. So there's a line, there's some kind of line there, but it's understandable that people would feel hurt for their friend that they care deeply about. I think it's also, though, and this is the hard part, it's also understandable that people get to know one side of a person, right? And if they're an abuser, emotionally, verbally, financially, whatever, and it comes to light, they know, like, think of O.J. Simpson, right? He was a gifted comedian, but he also did a bunch of really bad stuff. And so, like, we have to be able to kind of judge in our own mind what is acceptable to us. And I hope we can all agree that, like, rape and sexual violence is a line too far, right?
I think the challenge comes when if you don't, you first have to agree that that's what occurred.
Sure. Yes. And that's part of it.
Lines get blurry.
Yeah. Well, or maybe if a court of law said that occurred, or if somebody pled guilty in a court of law, that's enough, in my opinion. And to each their own. But then I think there are also people that will say that people should be forgiven.
How do you draw that balance?
Wait. O.J. Simpson was not a comedian.
Oh, sorry, not O.J. Simpson. Bill Cosby. I was sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like...
No, Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby. Can we just edit that in? Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby. No, I don't even know if O.J. Simpson did it. I don't even know the details.
Of course he did it.
Okay. I meant Bill Cosby. Yes. Okay. Bill Cosby. Yes. You could see his sweater. But okay, Bill Cosby, who then
the other black guy.
Yeah.
I was like,
okay. All right.
Comedian. What are we talking about?
Okay. All right. Bill Cosby. So maybe like we're hopefully not experiencing situations like Bill Cosby, although in a community there will be bad actors and sometimes bad actors will be able to hide it.
There is something that you said, though, that I hadn't thought about before, which is the fact that we chose to be a community does mean that we have some social obligation to each other. Whereas I think regardless of what happens, usually the big question that shakes the communities, what do we do? How much of this is our business or not our business to engage with? And I think that's the clarifying line. It's not as if I'm going to a gym and I know somebody in the gym has committed something. Like I don't have any social bond or connection to be in community with people in that setting. But here, there is a social contract. And so I do think there is some level of community engagement that maybe is not overstepping boundaries, but that does mean that we have some minimum obligation to set the tone for what we want the community to be.
But where do you draw the line? That's the question. Is it like somebody cheats on their partner?
Topic.
Well, but but when people break up, right? I think there's a line, and to me, it's violence against another, whether it's your partner or not, right? But and I understand. I'm divorced. I understand that the worst of you comes out when you get a divorce. Like it hurts so much that sometimes we lash out. But I also never attacked my partner, right? There were times I was really, 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 really mad. And I never attacked my partner, right? So like to me, there's a clear line at like violence. And if God forbid, one of my friends that I love both people dearly, if I found out from one of the partners that they were physically hurting the other one, it would be a hard pass. I would grieve it, but I would be like, no. Infidelity, like I said, I personally wouldn't want to have a relationship, but I wouldn't bar them from attending an event. And that would be on their shoulders to bear the weight of that.
I think I'm on the same page as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does hurt communities though.
It does. But
I think what hurts even more, I'm so sorry, John, is when it's so obvious a clear line and there are people that you would expect to be on the same side of that line with you that aren't.
Yes.
And that's harder.
That is really difficult.
It's harder to digest.
So do you think, and especially like, and not just Tango, right? Like you said, Melody, with cancel culture and everything. Do you guys feel like there is part of human psychology is that we want to make things simple, right? We want to label people as this is a good person and this is a bad person.
Yeah.
When like the truth is everyone is obviously capable of great things and horrible things at the same time, right? And like these people who, you know, cheat or commit abuse, you know, whatever it is, you know, they are great. Sometimes they're great dancers. They're great people outside of those events and incidents, right? So for me personally, like it's difficult to the mental math of like trying to balance that equation, right, between the good things that they have done and the good qualities that they have compared to the bad things, right? It's like a really difficult mental calculus, right? And like this instinct to try to put a label on something, right, becomes difficult. And so for me personally, like it's something that you have to wrestle with. Like even in your example, right, with Bill Cosby, right? Obviously horrible things that he's done, right? But he's also done great things, right? For like he's like put a lot of Black kids through college, right? Then he like purchased the speakers that like Martin Luther King gave that's the I Have a Dream speech on, right? Like he did like these great things and supported this cause, right? So like none of which redeem him necessarily for the bad things that he did, right? But it just becomes this difficult. It becomes difficult to quantify a person.
I think you can respect someone's legacy if they truly had a legacy and still choose to engage with them differently moving forward after something has come to light, right? So it's like, I wouldn't say, okay, now post Bill Cosby, yes, he did these bad things, but he also did these great things. So maybe I would, I'd still acknowledge, right? I would just acknowledge like, look, yes, he did do those great things. Moving forward, I may not, let's say he was doing live shows and there's an opportunity for me to like put my money towards supporting him. Like moving forward, I might not continue to do that, right?
Right.
But I think it's okay to, if the person actually did have a positive legacy to the external world, it's okay to still acknowledge it, but then still choose moving forward whether or not you continue to support and engage with that person, which was also a bit of a tough decision for me with some other Tango couples recently as well. So it wasn't difficult.
Yeah.
It hurt. It was a grief. There was a moment of grief.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a difficult choice to make.
Yeah. So I think, again, with the line, yes, it's more not even about developing relationships with people. To me, as organizers, we have a responsibility to vet who we put into positions of authority. Because if someone has shown bad behavior in the past, it's likely they'll do it again. It's not a guarantee, obviously, but it's likely it could happen again. So like if someone is inappropriate in your milonga and you see or hear them making inappropriate comments, but they're a phenomenal dancer, do you elevate them to a maestro and have them in private spaces with women where they are a position of authority? I don't think so. Right? Yeah. If somebody,
there's an aspect to this that I'm starting to think about. I'm sorry, let me turn it.
Well, no, I was just thinking like if people show you who they are, believe them.
I think what happens is we shy away the minute these people are in a relationship and we feel like that's no longer our business.
Yeah.
But we do this all the time to individuals. If there's someone that we know is like a creeper in the milonga, people actively women sometimes will be like, hey,
avoid that one.
FYI, we wouldn't think, oh, you know what? It's not my business to say. You'll try your best to keep an eye, even as an organizer, right? But the minute that person is in a relationship, all of a sudden we feel like they're off limits to the same treatments because now it's none of our business. But these are still two individuals. So maybe rather than think of them as a couple, it's like this individual in particular has these things going on that does not vibe with the type of atmosphere that I'm trying to create.
Yes.
And part of it is that, right? It's not like we're not canceling the person per se, or maybe that's the result. It's less about labeling them and more about curating an experience. And I think that's a very good, I think maybe organizers, we need to take it from that perspective. It's not like, is it my business to ban this person from a social, open, public event or not? It's, no, I'm creating a curated experience. The same way how I wouldn't want to bring a alternative DJ to an experience that I want to feel more traditional. Yes, of course, nothing against that person, but I'm curating an experience for the people that's coming into my space. I think you can view it the same way as well for the people that are actually like out there doing bad things.
Yes. Well, and on the note of cancel culture, I do think we are too quick to cancel. I think that we have a very strong drive to be part of society, to be accepted, and that is one of those things. So if people are shunning somebody, it's like human nature to actually shun them to keep the community safe. I think humans are very nuanced. I think I've made bad decisions before, and we've all made bad decisions, but I've never made a bad decision. I hope, God forbid, I've never made a bad decision that like bloodied somebody or bruised somebody or caused them to have to seek medical treatment. And I think that is like, if we learned somebody in our milonga was saying hateful things and telling someone to kill themselves, for example, that would be a pretty clear, like, oh, you shouldn't be here. Like, we can't have somebody committing that, even though that's verbal, we can't have that here. Right?
Yeah.
And that would be like very, very clear. So it's like, yes, we're in this place where we are too reactive. I blame social media. I think that's a big part of it. But I also think like we need to be understanding of nuance, and there is a line. And for organizers, for us, there is a line with celebration, with like, I wouldn't put somebody in a position to perform, to be idolized. I wouldn't put somebody in a position of authority. And I personally wouldn't want someone with violent convictions on their record in our space.
I think to your point about social media, because people have been so quick to cancel, organizers have reacted negatively to that. And they're like, wait. I'm not going to be that person. And so it's made it hard to actually react a little bit more appropriately because we've like, some of us have gone to the other extreme of like opposite of cancel culture. But that, I think it's like there's a happy medium there. It doesn't mean you don't immediately like ban someone, but you do your research, you observe, you take notes, you talk to many, you do your due diligence, and then you make a smart decision after that, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And yes, we're not legal authority. We can't whatever, but we are owners of the space.
Yes. Yeah.
That needs to
and
be.
we're cultivating a culture.
Yes.
Ultimately, like
the things we allow in our own space is a reflection of us.
Even in soft ways. I was watching at Los Amigos at our Milonga and watching our new leaders follow. And I was like, I know that one of them had gone out to queer tango space and they had seen other people leading and following as well. But like in our first class, we're like, oh, yes, traditionally this is the way it was, but we believe it's not defined by gender, right? We're creating that culture. So like, let's say,
or I'm following all the time.
and also John is following all the time.
Oh, we
and
blow our students' minds because me and Melody tend to take the lead in the class a lot. Yes. When we're dancing, when we're teaching with John, and they're just like, "Wait, who's leading now?" And I'm like, the person holding their left hand up is leading.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
But we're creating that culture, and I think that that's really cool.
I will say though, we are not creating it for our students.
No,
we're showing them that's a possibility with us. Right now, we've sort of been like, pick a role for now. Later down the line, you can switch.
Yes.
But yes.
Yes. And like to the point of communication that we talked about in a previous episode, you know, even just saying in the class, like ask your partner how it feels. That also is helping create that culture. Obviously, we cannot dictate what happens in people's relationships. And it is sad when relationships end, especially if there's like a beloved maestro or like there's a couple, they don't even have to be in a romantic relationship.
When the coupleship ends.
Oh, and when it ends and it's like people cry to see that last performance, you know? Like I think to be understanding that we're all human is really important. To understand we all have to make our own decisions is really important. But also as couples, like I know if John and I broke up tomorrow, that would be terrible. But if we did it would impact the community. Like there's an understanding. It would impact our friends. And I felt this, like when I got divorced, when I started sharing with people we were getting separated, like I was shocked with how deep the reaction was because people believe when you're married, like it's going to go on forever. It is one of those things that like you just can count on, right? And then when suddenly it goes, other people have feelings.
They're invested as well.
They're invested. Yeah. So it does impact it.
Quick not sidebar, but something that you mentioned, I don't think we touched on because of our bias to speak on more on hetero relationships. But like when it comes to non-hetero relationships and dating, like I've heard from queer friends of mine, especially women who identify as women, but they're, let's say that, I don't know how to say this well. Sorry. Okay. So like, you know, for instance, it's like I've heard from several lesbians. Can I just say gay women? What do I say?
Sure. Women in relationships with women. Will that make it easier for you?
That's too many words, right? Like I feel like
I'm sorry.
They're lesbians.
We just stop saying lesbians because we always say queer. We never say the thing. Okay, so especially and I feel okay. So first of all, there is already if you're attracted to the same gender, but you are within the same role, that also can add additional complexity, right? There's already the one hand of like, let's say, I know a few women who are predominantly leaders. They can follow, but they're predominantly leaders, and they have to struggle with dancing with other women and having those women assume just because they're gay that they're attracted to them, right? And it's like,
but I'm not assuming
we never make that for for exactly. And so it's like, it's hard. I can't imagine having, like, we talk about getting lost in the embrace with our partner and feeling free to be who we are as we are. And then we know we can walk up the dance floor, right? But there are also people who cannot be that free because the assumptions will be, well, if I fully express myself, even if I am attracted to the person, if I fully express myself, now I'm going to be judged for it. Especially when it's like the same gender, like a guy who's gay dancing or following another guy can't fully express how he feels. And so like the ability to date in non-queer spaces is already like almost, I'm assuming, like a minefield, or even not even date, to just express attraction without feeling a sense of rejection.
That's interesting because like I would not mute my own expression if I'm dancing with a guy or if I'm dancing with
because it's okay if the guy thinks that you're attracted to him or not.
No, I don't even think about it.
I know you don't, but I'm saying like it's
other people.
It's right. It's like if the other person's not going to feel offended per se. If they're in a relationship, they'll say, "Oh, I'm not interested, but like, thanks for being attracted to me, whatever." Right? But if you were dancing with another woman, and let's say you were the one that was gay, and you wanted to fully express yourself with that woman, like the other woman might now be like, "Whoa, too much." Right? Because we tend to become a lot more sensitive.
Have they said they've had this experience?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so I've worked really hard as myself.
It's really selfish to think that that's like about the attraction to you. That's like very.
It's absolutely, but it happens. And so at least like, it's hard, but at least for me, I try, if I know I'm dancing with someone who is queer, I do not limit how I express myself. If I'm feeling ooey gooey vavavoom, I will be ooey gooey vavavoom with that person because this is a dance partner. But anyways, maybe this is digressing to a whole nother series we should have with people with experiences, the actual experiences. So we're not like speaking for other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that just adds the dynamic of dating and relationships and attraction and tango that sometimes we're not aware of and we should be mindful of.
Well, and you know what? I was surprised when a tango friend came out as having been in an open relationship, a polygamous relationship, where they were in a relationship with both a man and a woman. And I had no idea that they like, did I care? No, but I guess I just don't even care. Like, I'm just like that. Cool. Good for you. Like you found what makes you happy. Right. I think we should all just maybe be understanding. All right. So this is an interesting question. Which I don't know if you have as much because you weren't propositioned as much in tango, but what boundaries or healthy practices would we tell our younger selves? I think I do wish somebody had said to me early on, like, hey, this may be a way that men try to get you into a private space so they can make a move. I think that would have been a nice heads up. So new tango dancers, heads up. If you're being invited, ask if it's private and maybe set some boundaries. Just be clear why you're there and why you're not there. And also, if you're an experienced dancer, don't use tango as a guise to get someone into an intimate private setting. I think we've talked about this before, but like if you want to ask somebody on a date, just ask them on a date. Yeah. Be straightforward. Don't be like, hey, you want to come do this thing and we'll work on tango, knowing there's an imbalance. Like, just don't do it.
Yeah. Well, I think I would also agree. I guess it's more about making intentional decisions. So maybe you do want to date and enjoy many different partners in tango, and that can be beautiful for some people, right? Maybe
but
beautiful
be straightforward,
but be open about that so other people can curb their expectations as well.
Yes.
And just recognize that while tango can give cues of attraction and emotion and intimacy, I would not try to read into those signs off the dance. Like test if those same signals are still present off the dance floor, talking, out of the milonga space on a regular day, messaging each other. Like, does that vibe still continue? Then you can pursue. But
I think also, especially in the dynamic we're talking about, where there's like an experienced dancer and then an inexperienced dancer, there is the perceived imbalance of influence.
Yes. Yes.
And so the inexperienced dancer might feel like they need to put up with more to move to the next level of the dance, whatever that means.
Yes. And I will say it's never appropriate for a teacher to proposition a student. Like, it's just not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless, again, you're down for that. But do realize, first of all.
No, but there's a power imbalance.
By then, yes. By then, if you're newer to the community, do know everybody else in the communities know who these people are. So, like, go for it at your own risk, if that makes sense.
I think that
because sometimes I feel like the person is being like their boundaries are being crossed. And then when you talk to them, they're like, oh, no, it's fine. I'm like,
oh, sure. Like,
okay.
I've seen that happen in Malanga where it was like, and they're like, no, I was into that. That's totally fine.
That's what I mean.
I mean, like, you have the young, like 1 month in dancer. Usually it's a young woman. And then you have the 5-year tangero who is like, hey, you want to practice? And the young dancer, like me, naively is like, oh, absolutely. I would really love to have more opportunity to dance, right? And it was nothing about a date. Like, come on, it wasn't supposed to be a date. And then like being in that intimate setting, we've talked about this before, like you never know what has happened in that person's life and how they'll react. And I know multiple women that have said yes to a proposition because they didn't feel safe, whether they were or not. So just don't put a woman in that situation, or a man. Like just don't do it. I think for boundaries though, if you are, let's say both people are into it, they want to see each other, maybe just set some expectations about what you're looking for ahead of time. Like if you're looking for something casual, be straightforward.
Communicate? What is this madness?
So hard.
What is this madness?
Wait, you guys can't read minds?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, nope. So like just say what you're looking for. Be straightforward.
And for me, the biggest lesson that I learned coming out of this conversation, it's the like whether or not like your relationship should be able to survive outside of tango.
Yes.
It may have initiated because of tango, but it needs to survive outside of tango to really be something.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, that we talked about what we wish we knew. I think it's very similar what we would tell somebody new to tango. Yes. And we've already kind of talked about appropriate on the dance floor behavior, so we don't need to go over that again, but definitely watch that episode if you are new to tango. So do you have any stories, any tango stories, yours or somebody else's?
So you know what? Not necessarily a story, but a part of being in tango is that there's always gossip. People are always gossiping, and ultimately it's, as far as relationship goes, as long as you're having fun and everyone's having fun and it's consensual, then people are having a good time, then I think for the largely, no harm, no foul, and you get a good story out of it, you get some fun, no big deal, right?
I personally love living vicariously through my friends who have exciting relationships.
So when I first started dating Melody, I joke that like every other story that she had started off with, so I was dating this guy this one time.
I was on a date.
I was on a date. Or I dated this guy, and she had all these interesting tango stories about various events that she's attended.
Not just tango, but like the one guy that said, "Oh, I have a mind like the guy in A Beautiful Mind," and I was like, "Well, it's a red flag immediately. Red flag."
I didn't watch that.
Oh, he's like a little crazy. he's like a savant. So he's like super smart, but also crazy.
He
like
admitted that.
Yeah, he said that. That was like sentence 2 on the date. Okay. Yeah, so like I for sure have stories. Or like the time I was in a different country and I was going to walk home alone and someone said to me, well, I can't walk you home because I wouldn't be able to control myself.
Actually, I do have a friend story. Now that you said that.
And I was like, it's fine because I'm dating this guy and he's the best guy I've ever met. And it was John.
Sorry, ladies. John's out of commission. It's always the good ones.
Okay, wow. What's your...
so gross. No, we had very dear friend to all of us. And it was like the most weirdest thing, but we were in a different country. And sometimes it's hard to get like taxi rides to and from the venue. So you'd like, if you found a taxi person, you like save their number and call them up whenever you need them, especially if you're leaving the Milonga at 7 a.m. in the morning, like at odd hours. And so at one point, I think the guy messaged her and was like, I can't, like, I don't know if he was like, I can't like come pick you up or can't be in the car with you. Like you just make me go crazy. Like I'm just so attracted to you. But it was like so creepy. And I was just like, what is going? Okay, so actually it wasn't in tango, but it was just one of those.
Oh no, but this did happen to me actually. I was in Paris and I went to Milonga And I was taking Uber. Uber was very new in Paris. So there must have been like 4 Uber drivers because I had the same guy twice. Okay. So he took me to the Milonga one night. The next night he's bringing me back. And so I get in the car the next night. He really doesn't speak English. And he's like, oh, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I recognize you. And he keeps trying, like, well, every time we stop, he'll like put something in Google Translate. He's trying to talk to me and I can't really understand what he's saying.
And you're like, just take me home,
and
please.
Yeah, and I'm just like, well, I was being friendly. I'm in a foreign country and I'm by myself and it's like 3
She was being
in the
friendly,
morning. And I did see a friend the next day who is American but speaks fluent French. And I was like, I had gotten a message. I'd gotten back to the hotel. I'd gone up to the room and the Uber driver had sent me this really long message. And I tried to put it in Google Translate. I couldn't tell. And my friend, I'm like, can you translate this? And he starts laughing. And he's like, oh, he said that like, that he can tell that he would fall in love with you and he would love to have a glass of wine with you if you want to invite him up to your, but I had like a guy propose to me while I was in Paris. So this is why John is like, she has all these jokes about she was on a date. And I'm like, it was just a weird.
I think it's just the melody vibe.
No. I think it's an American woman by herself in Paris is probably
also
actually
just melody vibe. Getting proposed to is outlandish.
It's like, I'll come to America, I'll marry you. I was like,
man, trying to get his citizenship.
No. But those are related to tango, but not tango. I will say one guy, the guy that tried to kiss me, this is local.
That's what I'm talking about.
This is okay. The guy that I was not into, that really had asked me if I wanted to practice, and I was like, well,
at least he didn't bite you.
Well, he tried to kiss me, and I was like, no, thank you.
On the dance floor?
No, this was like I was leaving a Milonga, and he had walked out with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, thank you. I'm not interested. And he was like, oh, I can tell some really bad energy is coming your way. And I was like, okay.
Are you professing to premeditated violence here?
I was like, oh no.
The what?
No. Yeah.
The nerve of some people.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I definitely know of situations where married people were married to non-tango people and dating tango people. I know of situations where there was divorce. I know.
Why you looked at me like I was like,
no, that we talked about. No, God, no. That we talked about. No, none of us. No. But in that question is like, does tango make it more complicated?
It can, right? Because yes, sure, there's an element where if you're dating someone in tango, they have an understanding of the tango culture, lifestyle, time commitment. So that part could sometimes be helpful. But then it can also turn against you when one person decides to retract more from tango than the other, because you're like, that wasn't the shared agreement when we had, that causes conflict. And then also too, if you're dating someone not within tango, it really just depends on the healthiness of your relationship. I'm fortunate enough to be married to someone that knows, like, I'm going to dance tonight, and then the next night, and then for these hours, and I'm going to go to the country, and like he's chill with it. We just have to be intentional about finding time together in between.
And I think we're going to talk about this in another episode, but also there's the fact that doing tango, at least at this level, precludes you from engaging in quote unquote like regular life. Like we go to our neighbors' parties, and then they are blown away. And then we have to leave to go to a Milonga. They're blown away that our night is not over.
We're like, oh, we got to go dance, and they're just like, what?
So like there are some cases where tango could make your relationship deeper.
I think it can also amplify whatever your already underlying characteristics are. Right. So like if you are going to cheat, it's giving you ample opportunity because you're meeting more people that may be single that may cheat, right? If you you disregard your partner, it's giving you more opportunity because you in a power play can go to Milonga and then ignore your partner or like treat them poorly or
too controlling.
Right? Or controlling, right? So I think it can amplify those things, and that it's not necessarily tango's impact, but it's what you already are doing.
The question isn't whether or not you should date tangos. Are you ready to?
Well, should you date at all? is more like this is just your own characteristics, right?
I wouldn't say Tango, like, is Tango a good space to find love? For instance, like, it's a space to find love, but you got to put in the work to make it work.
But you already have something that you share together, and that is where, if it does work, it can be so beautiful because you're working on something both separately and together.
Yeah.
Right? It gives you this common thread.
Except most times it ends up not being.
I'm not going to say that.
I feel like you got, like, most times. So let's be real here.
I'm going to,
you could make,
sunny side,
for
sunny
some
side.
people, for very few couples, Tango can work. For others, it's a struggle. And for some others, it's like, don't even go there because it's not going to work with your personality type.
Okay. But here's the other thing. All right. So I know we have to wrap it up, but the other thing,
whoa,
and this is
50 font.
Yeah, I know. He's like, wrap it up. The other thing I want to say is that Tango also does tend to attract people that, like Tango nomads, that are kind of traveling their lives. They don't have a lot of responsibility. I find, and this is not saying all Tango nomads are like this, but I find within the subset of Tango nomad or people that it's the main thing going on, is there are quite a few people where Tango is kind of their sexual playground, right? And I think if you aren't aware of this and you think that, oh, maybe this is fostering a genuine relationship, just go into it with your eyes wide open, that there are lots of people that don't necessarily, they're not looking for the same thing, which is why I'm saying be transparent, right? And so if it is somebody who is traveling around the world and sleeping with another person in every city, even multiple people in each city, like just
maybe at the same time.
And maybe that's what you want too.
Right.
But if you don't, if you think, oh, no,
I'm
this
special.
person, we felt a genuine connection, this must be special.
No, it's Tango.
Yeah, it could just be Tango.
There's a genuine connection with almost everybody, that you can find a genuine connection with different people.
Yes. So like, this is where I'm like, okay, just just communicate.
Know yourself, know what you want, and communicate it.
Yes.
And don't be afraid to set boundaries, even if they are part of the cool kids crowd. I take it back. Even if they're in the space socially that you want to be in, there's other people that won't make you feel that pressure.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
So just hold your grounds.
Yeah. Well, and if that's what you want, have fun with it, fine, whatever, but be transparent, All right.
Yeah.
I'm happy to touch on a new topic now.
All right. Okay. But if you have salacious Tango stories you want to share,
or not salacious,
or questions,
fun anecdotes.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about all the folks that you could give wonderful advice to now.
Yeah, and you want to weigh in, leave us a comment, like and subscribe.
And for anybody that's going to be in the DC area, we are bringing in Murat Erdemsel at the end of May, the last weekend of May.
The first time in 10 years. Very excited about that.
For workshops. And so stay tuned for details. We will let everyone know.
All right.
I low-key think I've been saying his last name wrong this whole time.
Erdemsel? How did you
I thought it was Erdemsel.
I think it's Erdemsel.
Oh, I got to check the spelling again.
Oh, I got to check it too.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Staying Grounded. If you like this episode, please subscribe and give us a like. We would love to hear from you in the comments, and we'll see you next time.